Tonight, I do not come to your soul with the noise of judgment, nor do I carry the rod of condemnation. I come like a gentle breeze passing over the surface of a troubled lake, like a small flame still quietly burning in a cold room you thought had become completely dark. I know the world has made your heart weary. Every day, you see people pushing against one another to seize what they call value. Yet, in doing so, they lose the peace hidden deep within their souls. They build thrones for their own egos, then bow before the approval of others. They laugh and speak among the crowd, while their souls wither like fields without rain. And you, my beloved child, we have looked upon all of this many times and wondered why your heart still feels empty, even though you have tried to walk strongly among the crowd. I see the nights when you remain silent for a long time, not because you have nothing to say, but because you no longer know whom to open your heart to. You carry nameless pains within you and call them maturity. You lock your wounds behind a smile and say you are simply better than before. But I know your soul is exhausted from trying to carry everything alone. You are afraid that if others see that softness, they will leave you. You are afraid that if light touches the deepest place within you, every layer of armor you have built will shatter. But hear me, my child, I have not come to shame you. I have come to rescue the part of your heart that has been trapped behind doors you yourself locked long ago. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. As Psalm 34:18 says, has never been a distant line of words. It is my embrace opening to you at this very moment. A thin mist is covering many souls on the earth, not a darkness easily recognized, but a gentle spiritual slumber that makes people believe they are living rightly while their spirits have slowly gone astray. They say they understand the truth, yet lack love. They use beautiful words, but their hearts are filled with wounds that have not yet been healed. They pray with their lips, but their minds are still pulled back to the chains of pride, fear, and rivalry. My child, ignorance is dangerous, not because it roars like a storm, but because it lulls the soul to sleep in a false sense of peace. It causes people to become so accustomed to darkness that they no longer realize they are thirsting for light. That is why I call you to awaken, not so you may be afraid, but so your spiritual eyes may be opened once more. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. As Romans 12:2 declares, for I do not want you to change only on the outside. I want the light to enter the deepest places of your soul. Remember the story of the boy Samuel in the temple long ago, when night had fallen and everyone had gone to rest. He heard a voice calling in the silence. Samuel thought it was the voice of Eli the priest, so he ran to him several times, only to later understand that it was I who was calling him. My beloved child, I never created you to live behind masks of fear. I did not form your soul to grow weary from hiding who you truly are, nor do I desire your heart to live in constant anxiety that if the truth were revealed, you would lose love and acceptance. I know there are people who carry two lives within themselves, one face for the world to see, and another hidden darkness known only to them. They laugh among the crowd while trembling inside with fear of being discovered. They struggle to maintain the image of strength. Yet every night they are exhausted from protecting something false. My child, there is no chain more silent than constantly running from the light. I have seen many souls who believed their secrets would keep them safe, when in truth, the very things they hid were slowly consuming their peace from within. A person may deceive the eyes of the world for a long time, but they can never deceive their own heart forever. A soul created for truth will always suffer when imprisoned in darkness. And because I love you, I do not want you to continue living as a prisoner of the fear of being seen. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As John 8:32 declares, is not merely a teaching for those seeking knowledge. It is the key that opens the prison doors many souls have locked themselves behind. Remember Zacchaeus, the small tax collector who climbed a sycamore tree just to catch a glimpse of me among the crowd. The world saw him as greedy and sinful, and even he had grown used to living in rejection and distance from others. But when I came beneath that tree, I did not call him with condemnation. I called him with love and truth at the same time. I entered his house, and my presence itself awakened his heart. Zacchaeus was not forced to change. The light of truth moved him to willingly stand and say, "If I have cheated anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Do you see, my beloved child, when a soul truly encounters my love, it no longer desires to continue living in darkness. Truth did not come to crush Zacchaeus, but to free him from the old self he himself had grown weary of carrying. In the same way, I have seen families healed when one person became courageous enough to step out from behind pretense. There are fathers who hid their past mistakes for years because they believed that if their children knew the truth, they would lose their respect. There are mothers who silently endured loneliness because they were afraid to admit they were weak. There are souls who spend their entire lives trying to maintain the image of being fine before others, while inwardly they are breaking apart day by day. But my child, light is always stronger than darkness. When a humble heart dares to open itself in sincerity, the miracle of healing begins. Not because people suddenly become perfect, but because truth has finally given love a place to enter. I want you to understand that there is a peace the world cannot give you. It is not the peace that comes from everyone thinking well of you. It is not the feeling of safety that comes from controlling your image in the eyes of others. True peace comes when you no longer have to perform, when you no longer have to force yourself to appear strong all the time, when you no longer need to create a perfect version of yourself in order to be loved. There are souls who laugh often but have never truly rested, because they constantly fear that if the mask falls away, people will leave them. But I tell you this, those who truly love you will not love the mask you have built. They will love the sincerity that my light is awakening within you. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. As Matthew 11:28 says, is an invitation, especially for souls exhausted from trying to become what others expect them to be. I do not ask you to prove your worth through perfection. I only ask you to step out of darkness and live in truth, for it is there that your soul can finally breathe freely. But remember this, my beloved child, truth without love can become a cold blade. There are people who use truth to wound rather than to heal. They call themselves honest, yet their words leave only cuts in the souls of others. In the same way, love separated from truth becomes blind indulgence, allowing people to continue wandering without ever being led back into the light. In me, these two have never stood against one another. My love is always truthful, and my truth is always gentle. I do not hide sin simply to please you, but neither do I expose you in order to destroy you. I correct you like a father who holds his child close even while wiping the dust from their face. So today, I want you to build your life upon the rock of truth. Do not build your soul upon the fragile approval of the world, for it changes as quickly as the wind. Stand firmly in my light, where you no longer need to pretend in order to be loved. And then you will understand a profound mystery. The freest person is not the one who has never failed, but the one who no longer runs from the truth about themselves. When you walk in my love and my truth, you will no longer lose your way among the chaotic voices of the world, for my light will become the lamp that guides your soul forever. My beloved child, after the long seasons in which your soul was refined through the fire of testing, after the dark nights when you thought you no longer had the strength to keep walking, I want you to lift up your head and see what I have quietly been doing within you. You are no longer the person who entered this journey with eyes full of fear and a heart weighed down by the chains of the past. The tears you once shed in silence were not wasted. Every time you fell and tremblingly rose again became another stone, building new strength within your soul. I did not allow suffering to destroy you. I used it to refine you like gold purified in the furnace. And now, among the ashes of former days, I see a new light rising within you. You once learned how to kneel in weakness. Now I am teaching you how to stand in freedom. You once walked with a soul, bowed low beneath shame. But now I place within you the dignity of one who is loved by heaven. My child, the elevation of the soul is not when you no longer carry painful memories, but when those memories no longer have power to rule your life. You no longer live as a prisoner of what has passed. You no longer allow old voices to define your worth. If the Son sets you free, you shall be free indeed. As John 8:36 declares. And I want you to walk in that freedom with your whole heart. Remember Joseph, who was sold by his own brothers as though he were worthless merchandise. He was falsely accused, forgotten in prison, and forced to endure years that anyone would call unfair. But my beloved child, I did not allow that journey to become meaningless. The darkest places became a school for his soul. The very years in which he was brought low were preparing him for the position I had already ordained for him. And when the day came for Joseph to stand before those who had wounded him, he no longer spoke with bitterness. He spoke with the light of understanding. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Do you see? This is the elevation I desire to accomplish within you, not merely pulling you out of pain, but lifting you above it, so that even the things that once tried to destroy you become witnesses to the power of grace. So today, I tell you this: do not see yourself as someone who merely survived brokenness, but as someone who has been transformed through brokenness. There is a great difference between the two. A survivor carries only the memory of the storm, but one who has been transformed carries a light that helps other souls find their way through the tempest. I taught you through tears so that one day you could comfort others with gentleness. I allowed you to taste loneliness so you would know how to embrace wandering souls. I led you through seasons of drought so that when you encounter those who are thirsty, you would know how to offer them the water of hope. God comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble. As 2 Corinthians 1-4 says, is what I am fulfilling through your life. There is no wound I heal, only for you to enjoy alone. What I do within your soul will become light for others. There are people waiting to hear your story so they may know that they, too, can rise again. There are souls drowning in despair who will rediscover hope when they see how I restored you. I know that in the past you thought elevation meant escaping every hardship, but now you understand that true elevation is when your soul stands higher than fear itself. Storms may still come, but they no longer steal your peace. Voices of doubt may still echo around you, but they no longer have the power to make you forget to whom you belong. My beloved child, the eagle does not flee from the storm. It uses the very force of the wind to rise even higher. In the same way, the things that once made you tremble will now become the very strength that lifts the soul I have transformed within you. I have placed upon your head a crown that the world cannot see with ordinary eyes. It is not a crown of fame or fleeting power. It is the beauty of a heart that has matured through love. It is the peace of one who no longer needs to prove their worth to the world. It is the light of a soul that knows it has been preserved by me through its darkest seasons. He gives a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. As Isaiah 61:3 declares, is exactly what I am accomplishing within you. So do not grieve over what has passed as though all your pain were meaningless loss. In my kingdom, no tear falls without becoming a seed. No stumbling ever happens without my ability to turn it into a step that brings you closer to me. Perhaps at the time you did not understand why you had to walk such a difficult road. But now look back and see. It was the fire of testing that made your soul deeper, gentler, stronger, and more genuine. Therefore, keep walking with the peace of one who has been transformed. Do not move through this life with the mindset of a defeated person any longer. Live as one who carries the mark of grace. Let my light within you shine into the dark places around you. Love without fearing that the wounds of the past will return to rule over you. Serve without seeking the rewards of men. Walk with your eyes lifted toward heaven, for your soul is no longer dragged down by old chains. And when you see others wandering in the darkness you once walked through, do not despise them. Remember how patient I was with you. Extend your hand as I once extended mine to lift you up. That is when your journey truly becomes a living light in this world, a testimony that grace can turn ashes into glory, turn pain into strength, and transform a once broken soul into a reflection of my eternal beauty. My beloved child, I know there are moments when your soul trembles as it senses my light touching the places you have tried to hide for so long. You are not always ready to face the truth about yourself. There are memories you want buried deep, wounds you have learned to call silence so you would not hurt any further. You fear that if light enters those deepest places, every layer protecting your heart will shatter. You fear having to see your weakness, your mistakes, the parts of yourself that are still unhealed and immature, the parts you always try to hide from others. But, my child, I have never entered your life to destroy you with truth. My light is not like the fire of condemnation. It is like dawn slipping through a window after a long night, gentle, yet strong enough to make darkness disappear. I have been patient with you far more than you realize. My patience is not the cold waiting of a distant God observing your failures from afar. It is the love of a father still standing at the end of the road, watching every wandering step of his child. There were days when you turned away from me because you believed you were no longer worthy of being heard. There were nights when you did not pray because you thought your silence had disappointed heaven. But my child, even when your lips say nothing, I still hear the sighs within your heart. Even when you are not seeking me, I am quietly seeking you through the gentlest ways, through an unexpected word that stirs your heart, through the eyes of a stranger, through a lonely moment that makes you realize what your soul is truly thirsting for. I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore I have drawn you with loving kindness. As Jeremiah 31:3 declares, has never become an outdated promise. It is the very way I continue reaching for you every single day. Remember the prophet Elijah when he fled into the wilderness after days of weariness and fear. He thought he was alone, defeated, and no longer had the strength to continue. He sat beneath the broom tree and asked to die. But I did not come to Elijah through a violent wind or through threats. I did not use thunder to force him to stand. I came in a gentle whisper after the strong wind, after the earthquake, and after the fire. It was in that tenderness that his soul was restored. My beloved child, I am treating you in the same way. I do not want you to come to me because you fear punishment. I want you to return because you recognize that there is no place more peaceful than my embrace. True transformation is not born from force. If I used power only to make you submit, your soul would bow only in temporary fear. But I did not create slaves. I created children who choose to love freely. My love does not chain you. It opens wide the prison doors where shame and fear have long kept your soul confined. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. As 2 Coríntios 3:17 declares, is what I want you to experience through your own life. Do not think that every time you recognize your mistakes, it means you have failed. My child, that is the very moment when light is overcoming darkness within you. The one who is truly lost is not the one who has stumbled, but the one who no longer wants to see the truth. When you grieve over the wrong you have done, it shows that your heart is still alive. When you long for forgiveness, instead of continuing to cling to bitterness, it proves that the light of heaven is growing within your soul. Heaven rejoices not because you have never fallen, but because you still choose to return to the light after every fall. There will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents. As Luke 15:7 says, is the song of grace for every soul brave enough to come back. There are people who live their whole lives in shame because they believe their mistakes are their true name. But I do not define you by the things you have done wrong. I see you through what you can become when my love touches you. Look at Peter. He denied me 3 times in the darkness of night and trembled before the eyes of men. But I did not call him a traitor forever. After his failure, I met him again by the sea and asked only one thing: do you love me? Love restored him more powerfully than any rebuke could have done. And the man who once feared became a strong rock for many other souls. Do you see? My beloved child, I do not use your past to lock your future away. I turn your past into the very place where grace is revealed more clearly. So today, do not hide from the light anymore. Do not think you must make yourself perfect before you can come near to me. If perfection were the condition for being loved, no one would have the strength to stand before heaven. I seek only a heart willing to open and say, Father, I need you. And in that simple prayer, the power of restoration has already begun to flow into your soul. Let me tell you the most wondrous thing about my love: it never grows weary. You may run far away, but I still come searching for you. You may remain silent, but I still call your name with tenderness. You may fall many times, but I never grow tired of bending down to lift you up. There is no depth my light cannot reach. There is no darkness thick enough to keep my grace from entering. Love never fails. As Coríntios 13:8 declares, is the eternal nature of my heart toward you. Therefore, my beloved child, stop living in the chains of shame. I do not call you into disgrace, but into the strength of one who has been forgiven. Rise from the ashes of former days and walk as a child who knows they are still loved, even while not yet perfect. For what brings heaven the greatest joy is not a soul that has never stumbled, but a soul that, after everything, still chooses to open itself to the light and allow my love to transform it day by day. My child, the blindness of the soul does not disappear simply because you try harder. There are people who labor all their lives to prove they are good, yet their hearts still lack true light. What drives out darkness is not human striving, but the presence of truth. When you allow me to shine into the hidden corners within you, you will begin to see things you never recognized before. You will understand that there were times when you unintentionally hurt others because you yourself were hurting. There were times when you closed your heart not because you hated anyone, but because you were afraid of being wounded again. But my child, I do not expose you to shame you. I bring light to set you free from the things that have been silently imprisoning your soul. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As John 8:32 says, was never meant only for an ancient time. It is the key I still place into your hands today. There are nights when you are afraid to face yourself because you think that if every layer were stripped away, nothing would remain except weakness and failure. But listen to me. What I see in you is not only broken pieces. I see the seed of light still quietly burning beneath the ashes of weary days. I see a soul that still longs to love, even after many disappointments. I see a heart that still desires to live with kindness in a world that easily hardens people. And because I see these things, I continue calling you closer to me. Do not fear my light. It does not come like a fire to destroy, but like a gentle dawn awakening a field after a long, cold night. When the sun rises, the mist disappears on its own. In the same way, when truth enters your soul, ignorance will no longer have the power to blind your eyes. My beloved child, I want every word you speak to carry life. I want every step you take to leave behind peace instead of brokenness. Let mercy become the natural breath of your soul, so that wherever you are, someone may be lifted from their loneliness. You may think you are small in this vast world, but the light of an awakened soul can shatter the darkness within the hearts of many others. Even a small lamp is enough to keep a dark room from being completely consumed by night. So do not underestimate the light I have placed within you. And when I open your spiritual eyes so that you may see yourself more clearly, do not turn away in fear. What I desire is not to wound you, but to relight the temple within you. I am wiping away the dust that has settled upon your soul, so that the original light may shine again, the light that does not come from the world, but from my eternal love itself. You are the light of the world, as Matthew 5:14 declares. Therefore, walk as children of the light, my beloved child, so that through your life, wandering souls may find their way back to peace. My beloved child, when your soul has passed through the waters of sincere repentance, I do not leave you standing forever on the shore of tears and old memories. I do not call you to me merely so you may bow your head over what has already been broken and spend the rest of your days living in shame. My love does not stop at forgiveness. I am the God of restoration, of renewal, of dawn rising after a night that seemed as though it would never end. When I touch a soul, I do not simply wipe the dust from its face. I awaken life again in the places once thought long dead. Behold, I make all things new. As Revelation 21:5 says, is not a promise reserved only for some distant day in heaven. It is the breath I am placing upon your life even now. I know there are hidden places deep within your heart that even you hesitate to look at. There are dreams that once burned brightly but are now covered by the ashes of disappointment. There are prayers you once lifted up with all your heart, only to fall silent afterward because you believed heaven had not heard you. There are relationships that once warmed your heart, but now leave only emptiness, making you afraid to love again. My child, I see all these things. I see the places within you that ache quietly every time night falls. I see the memories you have buried deeply so you would not have to face them. But listen to me. In my hands, nothing is truly lost unless I declare that it is ended. Even a field burned black can bring forth a new harvest when the rain of heaven returns. Remember the story of Naomi when she left the land of Moab with a heart full of bitterness. She had lost her husband, lost her sons, and believed her life held nothing but the ashes of sorrow. She once said, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, because the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me." But my beloved child, I never took my eyes off that woman. In the very place where she thought she had lost everything, I was quietly preparing a path of restoration that she could not yet see. I used Ruth's faithfulness, the simplicity of harvest seasons, and the silent guidance of my hand to bring new joy into Naomi's life. In the end, the place once filled with tears became the birthplace of the lineage that would lead to David. Do you see? I can turn chapters of life that seem to end in sorrow into the beginning of a greater plan than you ever imagined. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. As Psalm 35 declares. And that word is still alive for you today. Do not think that my restoration simply means giving back exactly what you once had. Many times, I give you something deeper than that. Sometimes I do not return you to the old version of your life. because I am creating a new person, more mature, more gentle, more capable of understanding love. Perhaps you lost the approval of people, but through that loss you learned that true worth is not found in the applause of the crowd. Perhaps you once lost your peace, so that in the depth of your thirst you would discover the true water in me that never runs dry. Perhaps you were betrayed, so that through that wound your heart could learn compassion for the suffering of other souls. I do not waste a single one of your tears, what the world calls destruction, I can use to bring forth spiritual transformation. So do not lose heart when you do not see everything change immediately. A seed does not grow into a great tree overnight. Dawn does not burst forth in its full brightness at the very first moment of morning light. The healing I work within you often happens little by little, quietly, deeply, yet enduringly. There will be days when you feel stronger than you did yesterday. There will also be days when your heart feels weak and ready to give up. But my beloved child, what I seek is not your perfection, but your willingness to keep walking with me. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall soar on wings like eagles. As Isaiah 40:31 declares, was never meant only for those who have never grown weary, but for souls who still choose hope even when their legs tremble. There are people who think that only those who have completely collapsed need saving. But I tell you that many souls continue walking through life every day in silent exhaustion that no one notices. They still smile, still work, still keep living, yet inside they are slowly running out of light. My child, I do not wait until you completely fall apart before reaching out my hand to lift you. The moment you are weary, I already desire to hold you close. The moment you whisper my name in the darkness, I am already listening. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As Matthew 11:28 says, is an invitation that has never been closed. Tonight, I want you to stop seeing yourself as hopeless ruins. I see within you a garden coming back to life after a long winter. The ground may still be wet with tears, and the branches may still appear bare in your own eyes. But I already see the first new buds awakening beneath the light of grace. And the day will come when even you will be amazed to realize that you have learned to smile again, to hope again, to pray again without feeling the same despair that once consumed you. This is what I am doing within you, not merely rescuing you from pain, but leading you into new life. For I am not only the one who forgives your soul, I am also the one who restores it with an eternal love that never runs dry. My beloved child, today I am calling you in the same way. Amid the noise of the world, amid busyness and chaos, your soul can still hear a very small voice echoing deep within. My child, come back closer to me. Samuel answered, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. And from that moment on, his life was never the same. I want you to understand that true awakening always begins by listening to the divine call in the dark night of your own soul. Do not think that I am present only in glorious moments. Many times, I enter your life through the very brokenness you once wanted to escape. There are things I allow to happen, not to destroy you, but to awaken the part of your soul that has fallen asleep in comfort and self-satisfaction. A closed door may be my way of keeping you from stepping into a place that was never meant for you. A prolonged silence may be the moment when I teach you how to listen again. A pain that seems meaningless may become the very place where light begins to enter. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. As Ezekiel 36:26 declares, is a promise I have never forgotten. I am not merely patching together your broken pieces. I am creating a new person from the ashes of former days. So tonight, do not keep running from yourself. Do not use busyness to cover your loneliness. Do not use laughter to hide the cries your soul is trying to hold back. I do not need you to be perfect before you come near to me. If perfection were the condition for being loved, no one would be able to stand before the light of heaven. What I seek in you is not a strong appearance, but an honest heart that dares to open itself before me. A soul that knows how to admit it needs healing is closer to a miracle than one that keeps pretending it is not in pain. My beloved child, the light I give is not like the light of the world. Human light shines only on what people want to display. My light enters even the places you hide most deeply. It does not come to accuse, but to heal. It does not destroy you, but brings you into new life. When dawn comes, darkness does not need to be fought in order to disappear. It is enough for light to appear. In the same way, when you allow me to enter your heart, the chains of fear, shame, and ignorance will gradually dissolve like mist before the morning sun. So stop thinking that you have gone too far to return. There is no depth greater than my love. There is no night so dense that my voice cannot reach you. Right now, in the quiet room around you, I am still standing there, not turning away, not disappointed, not weary of you. I am still calling you by heaven's most tender name, beloved child. And if tonight you have strength to do only one thing, let it be this: open the door of your heart just enough for my light to enter. My beloved child, I have placed a sacred flame within every soul, not so you would live silently like cold ashes, but so that this light may become a sign of life in a world exhausted by darkness. But you must understand that the same flame can warm or burn, can guide the way or lead others astray. When your heart walks in wakefulness, every word you speak will be like cool water flowing through dry places, and every glance you offer will bring comfort to souls quietly suffering. But if your soul is covered by indifference and spiritual sleep, even what you think is right may leave wounds in others that you do not recognize. That is why I want you to learn to live more slowly in a world that constantly pushes you to hurry. Do not listen only to the noise of the crowd or to the voice of your own fear within. Learn to listen with a heart softened by my love. There are cries that never become sound, and there are souls who smile while they are exhausted inside. Some people do not plead with words, but their eyes have long been begging to be understood. And I want you to become someone who recognizes the things others have forgotten. When you learn to bend down and see the pain of others instead of looking only at yourself, you begin to walk in the wisdom of heaven. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. As Romans 12:15 says, is not merely beautiful advice, but a doorway leading your soul into becoming more like me. True love always knows how to feel the heartbeat of the souls around it. There are moments when one gentle word from you can save someone from a long night of despair. A touch filled with kindness can remind a broken person that they still have value. A silence filled with understanding can sometimes heal more deeply than 1,000 pieces of advice. Do not underestimate these small things. For in my kingdom, many miracles begin with a heart that knows how to love without demanding recognition for its goodness. Remember the story of the Good Samaritan on the dusty road between Jerusalem and Jericho. The man who had been beaten by robbers lay at the roadside, wounded and nearly abandoned to death. Many people passed by people with status, knowledge, and the appearance of righteousness, yet they continued on as though that suffering had nothing to do with them. Only one man stopped. He did not ask whether the wounded man deserved help. He did not calculate how much time he would lose by kneeling down. He allowed compassion to guide his actions. And in that very moment, the light of heaven was revealed through an ordinary man. My beloved child, I want you to live this way in the world, not coldly walking past the pain of others, simply because it does not directly belong to you. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. As Matthew 5:7 declares, is the promise I give to those who use their light to heal instead of to wound. My beloved child, the day will come when you look back upon this season of transition and understand that nothing happened by accident. Every change within your heart, every closed door, every new longing awakening within you, all of it has been part of the process I established long ago. When the inside of you is truly ready, the outside will begin to shift as well. New opportunities will open. New relationships and connections will form. Doors that once remained silent will begin to move. And when that happens, you will realize that I was never late. I was simply preparing you for the very place that had been appointed for you before the dawn of time. So today, do not fear the changes taking place within your soul. Keep moving forward with the peace of one who knows that my own hand is guiding them through every layer of light. Until you fully step into the clarity of the new season, heaven has prepared for you from the very beginning.